Well, Cuse fans, what a week it was. Thing is, especially with Sutherland still being out, you gotta wonder who is gonna step up for the Orange. Seems as though he waits a little while until he gets going, but Michael Carter Williams seems to step up for the Orange when it just counts. And boy, did he step up big time in the Cuse's two big victories, especially the big victory down in Bluegrass Land. The Cuse go down and they take on who was then the #1 ranked team in the country, our old buddy Rick Pitino and his Louisville Cardinals. And it was a knockdown, drag-out fight for much of the game. And of course, with Sutherland being out, you gotta wonder who from the bench was gonna step up. Of course, Carter Williams, as I said before, step up, but Jeremy Grant seems to have elevated his game quite a bit. And DeJuan Coleman, he's trying, but I mean, he's got to do better. And Trevor Cooney, he still can throw up some air balls at times, but Trevor Cooney, he's starting to hit a few threes like we thought he was going to. But all in all, Michael Carter Williams, big steal right there. And although it didn't count right at the end, a huge slam down. I think it was Rakeem Christmas. And we beat the Louisville Cardinals. Then we head up to #3 in the rankings. And from there, what do we do for an encore? 48 hours later, Cincinnati comes into the Dome with Kevin Cronin's younger brother, although that has to be debated a little bit. And Michael Carter Williams steps up at the right time again. He comes with a big performance late in the game, although it was C.J. Fair who tipped in the winning bucket and saved the day for the Orange. A 57-55 defeat of the Bearcats. And what's next for the Orange? Our encore game against Villanova this coming Saturday. Although you might have to wonder if you better sleep in from work. It's an 11 a.m. start, Cuse fans. Much like the way the final regular season game for the football team was when they played Temple. It started in the morning. But whatever. What a huge week it was, Cuse fans. We made the Cardinals see red. And we made the Bearcats roar all the way home. Roar of crying, that is. And speaking of roaring, that's what I did after seeing this whole thing on Manti Te'o. Thing is, he's the guy on Buffalo's radar with the #8 pick. 'Cause let's face it, the Bills need linebacker help. Te'o is just the type of person to provide that help. But now it seems as though this whole story about his girlfriend passing was just a big hoax. Thing is, I believe Te'o when he says that, we didn't help perpetrate it. Thing is, Te'o seems like a stand-up kid. But you gotta think, if this was his girlfriend, how come he didn't physically meet her? Something just seems amiss there. But of course, the sicko who started that hoax, Tuiasa Sopu, he's the one who has to answer for it. Tuiasa, you know what. Oh, I'm not going to say it because I'm on the air. But you know, that is one of the sickest, most underhanded, vile things anybody could do. I mean, it just seems as though he jumped all over the chance when he heard about Te'o's grandmother passing to say, oh, this girlfriend passed because of a sickness too. It turns out this yutz wasn't real. Te'o, I believe you. Thing is, hopefully this won't affect your draft status. You know, Buffalo could use you. And in a lot of mock drafts, have you going to the Bills. You are a class act. But I mean, hey, I didn't think you'd fall for something like this. Who would fall for something like this? Of course, who would perpetrate something like this? If somebody perpetrated a hoax like this to me, you know what they're gonna get? This, upside the head. And also, I should say, guess what Governor Cuomo's done? Although I know Obama, who we gotta look forward to for 4 more years. It was Cuomo who became the first governor and New York the first state to pass a tough new gun bill. Apparently, high-capacity magazines, assault-type guns, are now pretty much almost banned, which means anybody who's got a Beretta out there or any other one that holds more than 7-8 bullets in its clip, you know, you gotta turn your gun in, because now, even though you might have had that gun like 8-9 years, you're now a criminal. But I will say this, that assault type shotgun, which is one of those guns that falls under the assault type guns, was a Bushmaster. And guess who makes the Bushmaster? Remington. And the thing is, they had a heck of an article yesterday in the Post-Standard, and also it was in the Rochester paper too. I mean, it was almost 200 years ago. F.L. Remington forged his first rifle out of his father's forge there in Illion, New York. And I mean, Remington has been one of the longest running American companies of its type for nearly 200 years. That area of New York State has depended on this company. And I mean, look at what Remington has done for Illion, Herkimer, Mohawk, Frankfort, and all that area along the Mohawk River. It has been a boon. 1,200 people work there at Remington Arms. Heck, some of my family members have owned Remington shotguns. What do you think this does? This causes a lot of uneasiness, Governor Cuomo, and it seems as though you passed that law before you even gave the Assembly or the Senate time to look at it. Don't you know it's not the guns that kill people, it's the people who kill people. Governor Cuomo, I think you passed this a little too fast. I don't think you really gave it a chance. You just wanted to go through like this. How long before they declare this law unconstitutional? I think that's what's going to happen. Because, I mean, there's 1,200 people who work at Remington that kind of depend on it. Although the Bushmaster isn't the only gun that Remington makes. Remington makes quite a few other guns. But, you know, Remington's a great company. And you know what? The people of Illion deserve a better thing. And last but not least this week, I want to talk about something I saw. What is it with women and their sky-high heels? At the Hugo Boss show about a few days ago over in Berlin, Renee Zellweger made a rare appearance. The thing is, what is it with women in their heels? They seem to be getting sky-high. Heck, the heels on those Louboutins she was wearing was like this big. Okay, maybe like this. But you know, how can you walk in those? You know, you're gonna be a little uneven like this. And of course, Yahoo OMG has to say she showed off her gorgeous gams. Thing is, didn't it look like she was a little uncomfortable with those things on? And the thing is, with those Louboutins, you look at the soles on those things, they're gonna make you red with envy. And what was all of those spikes on those heels, Miss Zellweger? Of course, those shoes cost, $1,200. Well, of course, who can afford it? Who can afford to walk in those things? Of course, Edward Norton was sitting right beside you, kind of looking dapper in his Hugo Boss suit, you know. Like this. But of course, Pixie Geldof was sitting right next to Edward Norton, Bob Geldof's daughter. And I mean, he did a great thing all those years ago when he organized Band-Aid and the song Do They Know It's Christmas. Hell, for his efforts, he was knighted. But she didn't look like she was impressed. She was on her phone. But of course, you can tell something to your father, Pixie. I don't like Mondays. I'm Ken Haas, and that's my ranting for this week, and I'm sticking to it.